Guys, I want to thank the sponsors of the podcast. I want to thank GoHunt.com, my friend Cody Nelson, the glassing guru, the optics authority. He's the optics manager at GoHunt.com. If you have any interest in buying optics or have any glassing questions, whether it be tripods, spotting scopes, rifle scopes, range finders, anything to do with glassing, give Cody a call, 702-847-8747. That's extension 2, or you can email him at optics@gohunt.com. You can also send him a text or call him on his cell phone at 602-399-3699. Guys, right now at GoHunt.com Insider, you can take advantage of the free trial. Go to GoHunt.com/JScott. You're going to be able to take advantage of a free trial of the Insider. GoHunt is always adding more value for their Insider members. They've now added real 3D maps as a part of Insider for no additional cost. What an incredible value. Very soon they're going to have their mobile app up as well. Go to GoHunt.com/JScott and sign up for a free trial. If you're already an Insider member, it's automatically part of your Insider membership. And you can just go to the Maps tab up at the top once you sign in as an Insider. I also want to thank KUIU Ultralight Hunting. That's the gear that I wear on all of my hunts. To find out more, you can go to KUIU.com, KUIU.com. They're a direct-to-consumer company. They sell everything off of the KUIU.com website. I also do a lot of question and answer on my Instagram where I'm answering questions about guys wanting to know about gear about KUIU, so tune into my Instagram. I want to thank KUIU for their sponsorship. I also want to thank Phonescope.com. Use the JScott20 promo code. You're going to get a 10% discount on all orders. Again, thanks to all the sponsors of my podcast. Guys, welcome to the J. Scott Outdoors podcast. Today I've got David Mathews of David Mathews Outfitters on the line. David, how you doing?
Good, Jay. How are you?
Good. Where did I find you? It's fun to do a podcast with you because you never know if I'm going to find you in Arizona or New Mexico or Texas or where you are. What are you doing right now?
I'm actually in eastern New Mexico, on the border of Texas, getting ready to start some Barbary Sheep hunts over here, and I'm enjoying this nice West Texas, eastern New Mexico weather with the power outages and all the cold weather right now.
I got to admit, I'm actually in Florida, of all places, on vacation, and it's 80 degrees and hot and humid. I had to come in and turn the air conditioning on. So I've had several of my buddies that are stuck in Texas and different places going, they've never seen so much ice. So we'll get right to it. New Mexico deadline is coming up here in about a month. We've got a March 17th deadline. David, you do a lot of work in New Mexico as well as Arizona, but you do a lot of work in New Mexico. What is your outlook for elk and other animals, but what are you looking at as far as moisture going into this draw?
I think this year, we're down. We didn't have the monsoon season that we normally have, and our winter has been almost non-existent until about 2 weeks ago. So I think right now definitely we're down some. But we have been getting some pretty decent storms, for the last couple of weeks. With a few more in the forecast. I don't know right now if it's going to be enough to catch us up or not. But we're trending in the right direction as far as the elk. The deer, in my opinion, now that's a little different up there. We've actually been getting some decent storms for the last month and a half, and I would say honestly, I think the deer were probably better than we were last year at this point as far as the moisture is going, but the elk is a different story.
All right, let's talk about deer while you bring that up. What would you say to the people that say there are no big deer in New Mexico?
I definitely disagree. As far as as far as record book entries and historically, you look at Rio Ribra County in the record book, and they've got just as many entries in the record book as most any other place in the world. We're killing some big deer in New Mexico. We killed another great one this year that was 230 gross. So New Mexico definitely has some big deer in the state for sure.
What are the units that you like for big deer in New Mexico?
The big deer units in New Mexico that I like, are the units 2, 2C, 2B, 2A, unit 5B, unit 7. Those are my primary units up in New Mexico. Any of the units that surround the Jicarilla Indian Reservation are key and most often have some big deer in them.
Do you feel like New Mexico sometimes is overlooked? I mean, I know I follow your Instagram and see your success, and it just seems like New Mexico is overlooked for mule deer.
I think it is. I think it really is. I think New Mexico still, we talk about the jewel or the diamond in the rough. I think that New Mexico has and will always be, well, maybe not always be, but is overlooked as far as quality in the deer program. You have Arizona and you have Utah and you have, Colorado, some of these units that are consistently killing giants and multiple giants year after year. New Mexico, there's some big deer here. Just maybe not as many giants killed in New Mexico annually as some of these other states.
While we're talking deer, I want to skip states here for a second. Arizona, the Arizona Strip, the Kaibab, you also run a lot of cameras and prowl around up there and guide there as well. How do you see coming off of last year? What are your thoughts going into this year for the Arizona deer?
Okay, so the Kaibab, in my opinion, coming off of, I did some guiding in 12A West, and I honestly, we had that big fire in 12A West, and I think that's going to only help, with the antler growth that we've seen there. And in my opinion, already 12A West this year was maybe better than I've seen it in a long time. As far as the hunts, having multiple cracks with guys in camp at bucks over 200 inches and killing a 200-inch buck in camp. And just from what I've seen, what I saw this year, antler growth looked really good in 12A West. So I think 12A West, or the Kaibab could be in an upward trend on quality, that we haven't seen, going, in the last few years. Definitely the Strip suffered this year. It was down, quite a bit, substantially. I actually had and advised a few hunters to even turn their tags back in. They had point guard in on the Strip. So this year on the Strip was not good. And Strip, in my opinion, is we've been getting some storms, but is it going to be enough? We had basically a non-existent monsoon, and not the best winter last year, as far as moisture. I think that our late winter, it really died off last year, and this year we're getting some storms, but are they going to line up to be beneficial to have a great antler growth this year? I guess we'll wait and see,
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's jump back to New Mexico. One of your bread and butters are elk in the Unit 15s and 16s, I believe.
Yes, sir.
What are you thinking as far as, if we can continue to get a few more storms, do you think we can pull to the, average antler growth year? Or do you think...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I do. I think if we can get a few more storms like what's been downer storms, they've been pretty decent. They've dumped 5, 6, 7 inches in some areas of snow. For the last couple of weeks, almost one a week, and then they're backing up. I think if we could get a couple more storms lined up here, and then have just a decent spring, I think followed with an average monsoon, I think that we could be looking at an average horn growth year in those units.
What units do you guide in the most in New Mexico for elk?
For elk, I do the 16D, 16A, and Unit 15. Those are my primary units down there. I mean, we do some other stuff in 17 and some 13 and some 23 and stuff, but those are my primary units.
What would you say is better right now, 16A or 16D?
I would honestly say that 16A has probably been the best for the last couple of years.
Why?
I just think with that fire that we had in 16D, on the backside of 16D, it pushed a lot of elk into 16A, and I don't think that the elk number has come back into 16D, 16A just yet. But I think that that's the only reason why. Is I think that we lost a few elk numbers to 16A, and they haven't filtered back to 16D just yet.
How does the quality in 15? I mean, 16A and D are the what you think are the two best.
Yeah.
Where are you at with quality in 15 compared to the 16s?
I think that 15 is definitely, I think the quality is there. I just think that a lot of elk, they give out a lot of permits. You know what I'm saying? So they're killing a lot of elk in the unit now. With hunters being as proficient as they are with the glass and the scouting and a lot of the stuff that hunters are doing on their own, I think that's knocking the quality down just a little bit in 15 over the 16 units. The 16 units, why they're a little bit better is the amount of hunting pressure and tags that they give out in those units over a unit 15. I think, like I said, genetically, they've all got the genetics. I just think that we're missing an age class in unit 15, just because they give out a few more tags than they do in those 16 units.
Do you feel like if 15 followed suit with the amount of tags, the ratio as they did in 16, 15 would have every bit as much of quality as the 16A and 16D?
I really do. 100%. I agree with that statement 100%.
What's your overall thought on the timing of, the firearm seasons? I know you have good success on those firearm seasons and the season dates this year. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so the season dates, they pushed forward a few days, which still isn't enough to catch the tail end of that. I mean, there will be some rutting going on that first firearm season, but it's not to the extent that it's going to be this great rut hunt with a gun. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I think that it pushed forward a few days over last year, but it's not far enough forward that we're going to see the great rut, during those hunts. So I think this year we'll see a little bit of rut activity lingering into those firearm dates, but it's not going to be on fire rut, so you can expect to catch a lot of the bulls that are already starting to pull off, and starting to get into their feed patterns into the canyons and the brushy hills.
What kind of quality do you expect, or do you tell people that those hunts produce?
I always try and undersell it a little bit, if anything, and tell those guys that, we're looking at 330 type bulls and 340 type bulls with 9 times out of 10, we're chasing bulls that are a little bit bigger than that. Last year was a different year also with antler breakage. We had some terrible breakage, across the Gila last year and in Arizona. I saw it also in Arizona. We had some breakage beyond belief. Some bulls were unrecognizable. You couldn't tell if they were a 5 point to start, or if they were a 370, sheared off at their G1s and G2s and stuff like that. So we saw some breakage last year that we saw in those first rifle hunts to see, the quality. We couldn't really tell what we were looking for and looking at because there was such bad breakage. And if we don't have that this year, I think, we'll see some good quality.
Do you think that's created some holdover bulls that maybe wouldn't have?
I agree. I really do. I think that there was a lot of bulls that got to pass last year because of the breakage. So this year we could see an increase in quality. As long as we have the moisture that we need, we could see the increase in quality of bulls that we're actually going to take this year because of the bad breakage last year.
Let's talk about these Barbary sheep hunts that you're doing. Barbary sheep, also known as Aoudad. Talk to us about that opportunity, and are those landowner permits? Are those draw? How? Tell us about it.
Okay, so we do all of our Barbary on draw tags, on state land and BLM and Forest Service. So it's actually a pretty good. It's a decent hunt. It's good draw. Are you there?
Yep.
Did I lose you? Okay.
Nope,
we'll cut there. Okay, I'll start back over at we'll start back over at
no problem.
Draw. My truck turned off, and I don't know if you could still hear me or not.
I got you.
Okay. All right.
Talk about Barbary sheep.
Okay, so the Barbary sheep in New Mexico is actually a pretty good hunt. We're doing all of our hunts on BLM Forest Service land, and it's the draw odds for it are really, really good as far as draw odds to get a hunt in the state of New Mexico through the Outfitters number. Some of those draw odds are in the 20% and 30% draw odd to actually draw the hunt. It puts you in pretty tough country, pretty rugged country, and if you're into those type of hunts and into a physically challenging hunt, it could add that to the list of challenging hunts. It's a great hunt to sit down and put your eyes to work and glass a ton of country and look for sheep. They call it the poor man's sheep hunt, and it really is. It's conducted and hunted just like you would, Arizona sheep or desert sheep or Rocky Mountain sheep. It's in the same kind of terrain.
Wouldn't you say that Aoudad the Barbary sheep, they've just really come on, it seems like, in popularity the last 3 or 4 years? I mean, it used to be you didn't hear anything about it, and now it's seems like really a craze. A lot of people really enjoy going after them.
A ton of people are enjoying it, and like I said, it's because of the physical demanding hunt that it can be. A lot of people are into that. They're like, you know what, I want a challenging, fun hunt that we're going to go in there and we're going to get our money's worth in hunting, and Barbary sheep are that. I mean, they are inexpensive, and they bring to the table, that want and the will of the challenging hunt. So I think that a lot of people have turned the corner on them and said, you know what, I want to hunt these Barbary sheep in the country that they're in and see what this is all about. And then once you get them out here, the guys get them out here and come and do it. You can't hardly, they won't miss the draw again on it. They have such a good time. It's a super fun hunt and challenging. So
that's awesome. David, it's always great having you on the podcast. I want to ask you in conclusion here, Arizona had talks about potentially putting some regulations on the trail camera ban. Utah's talked about it. What are your thoughts?
My honest thought on it, I hate to see anything that is our right being banned. Either way, I don't care. Too much if they do decide to ban it, or if if they don't. But I really hate to think that anything that is our right, inside of hunting gets taken away from us. What's going to be next? I mean, you say the ban, they're saying it's non-sportsman, or it's unethical, or it's not, these deer numbers or elk numbers are suffering because of it. But on the other hand, you have to think that they're benefiting from it also, because just specifically say the Arizona Strip. You get an Arizona Strip tag and you have cameras out, and bucks are getting passes. They're getting passed at a younger age, which is letting them get the extra years to actually make it to the shooter age. Now once they're at the shooter age, there's not a whole bunch of them that are getting by. Once they're 220 or something like that, a lot of the hunters and everything are so efficient now that those bucks aren't living past that age. But it's all about the bucks that are younger that are getting the pass to get that age. You know what I'm saying? So on both ends, you take away the cameras, the number of deer on the Arizona Strip, the number of deer that are killed that's not going to change. You know what I'm saying? What'll change is the 3-year-olds or the 4-year-olds. Those bucks will get shot on sight without knowledge of knowing of what's actually in the area. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to end up killing younger deer to save older deer. And it doesn't. In my opinion, it's a complete wash. You right now we're killing the older deer because we have knowledge of them, but in years in the future, if you take away the cameras, sure there'll be those bucks that that we don't have right now, the 270s and the 280s and that type of stuff. We'll grow a few of those from time to time without cameras, but I think we will see the numbers of our actual quality of our 220 type deer and our 230 type deer. I think we'll see less of those in the future, just because we'll be killing bucks at 3 years old or 4 years old before they actually get to that, because there won't be the knowledge of the 230s or 220s or 240s in the area. So there'll be lesser bucks killed without the knowledge as there is right now.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. David, I appreciate you coming on and sharing with us. I want to wish you the best of success here on your upcoming Barbary Sheep hunts. I'll let you go. I want to give you a chance to let people know how to reach out to you looking to hunt in New Mexico or Arizona for that matter. And I'll also link your contact up in the show notes of this podcast. Okay.
Well, you can link up with me in multiple ways. We're on Facebook, David Mathews Outfitters. We're on Instagram, and it's at David Mathews Outfitters.
And Mathews is with one T, not two.
Exactly, one T in Mathews, like the bow. You can call me 928-300-6405. Visit the website, davidmatthewsoutfitters.com. Any one of those ways you can link up with me and we can talk hunting and talk about the outfitters pool in New Mexico and the pros and cons of it. So
awesome. Thanks so much. Be safe out there. Okay.
All right, Jay. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Okay. Bye.